Hello students, welcome back to online classes of Global Navigation Satellite System. So after vacation, this is the first class that we are having. So before we move on, I just want to say this vacation, the vacations we usually enjoy a lot every year, but from the last 2 years, like this year vacation and the last vacation, we have seen a very tough time. Especially this time, the last month, we have seen very tough times, not in our country but all over the globe. And most of my students, like the family, we have all seen the tough times this time. So we all pray that the upcoming days will be better for us, inshallah. So apart from all this, we also have to concentrate on studies. So in the global navigation system, we have seen in previous classes 3 units have been completely finished. So along with that one, in the last class I have also given the introduction part of your 4th chapter also. So I just first I would like to revise all the 3 chapters what we have seen and what are the things that we have seen, and in the 4th unit what we are going to see and what are the important topics in that one that we'll see. And then next we'll move on to the first chapter or the first topic of your 4th unit. Okay, so let's just have a look on the syllabus copy of your GNSS. So in that one, the very first unit was about your global GPS fundamentals, that is global positioning system fundamentals. What is the constellation of that one, and the principle of operation, how it will be working, what are its orbits, what are its orbit mechanism, and what are the orbital elements that you are using in that one. And we have seen very important topic that are your Keplerian elements as well as the Keplerian laws. That are the important things that have to be noted in your first chapter. Then along with that one, we have also seen the dilution of precision and the categories of your dilution of precision and the timings also, like GPS timing, UTC timing, and the time references. So all the basic fundamental things that are required for your GPS, all we have seen in the first unit. So in second chapter or the second unit, we have seen GPS signal structure, like how GPS signal will be transmitted and how we are going to generate the GPS signals, and what are the codes that are used in that one, that are your C by A codes or the P codes, which are called as chorus or acquisition code, and these are your precision codes, right? So these we have seen. Along with that one, we have seen spoofing and anti-spoofing, and the errors, very importantly, the errors which are in your GPS system. Different kinds of errors we have seen, like satellite errors will be there, and atmospheric errors, that are your ionospheric and tropospheric errors we have seen, and user equipment errors we have seen, and the different kinds of noise which will be occurring at the receiver, that also we have seen in your unit 2. Third unit comes under the GPS augmentation system, like what are the measures that has to be taken as to improve your GPS system. So augmentation is nothing but improving the particular system. So here what we are doing, we are completely improving the GPS system. So in that one, we have classified them into 2 types. One is your SBAS, that is your space based augmentation system, and GBAS, that is your ground based augmentation system. This ground based augmentation system and as a space based augmentation system, again they have been classified into different types. SBAS has been classified into 4 types that we have seen, that is your VAS, wide area augmentation system, GAGAN, that is your geo augmentation system, then IGNOS, that is your European Geostationary Navigation Overlay Service, and METSAT. Oh, this one. Okay, these are the 4 categories that comes under your SBAS, and the 2 categories that fall under your ground based augmentation systems are your local area augmentation system, and the last one is your differential GPS. These 2 we have completely covered, and I hope all are very clear, because we have also seen the architectures of all these 6 augmentation system, including with your space and ground based augmentation system. The very interesting topic. This unit, to complete whole unit 3 is very interesting. If you see one architecture, all will be similar to that one. So I hope you are all clear with that one. And in the 4th chapter or the 4th unit, we are going to see other global navigation satellite systems. About this navigation satellite system, I have discussed in the very first class of your GNSS. I'll share the link with you in the description box as well as on the screen also, just to go through the video once again and then proceed to this video. Okay, so just go back to the second class of your GNSS. Okay, then have look on that complete class. Okay, then it will be like you people will be very clear like what are the different kinds of navigation systems that we are having. So there are different navigation system. Till now we have seen GNSS, Global Navigation Satellite System, but different countries will be using different navigation system, and they have also given the different names for their navigation system, and the constellations are also different. Like someone will be using 32 satellites in their constellation. Some of the navigation systems will be using 24 satellites in the system, but along with that satellites also, some countries will be using 3 orbits, some countries will be using 6 orbits, right? So different countries will be using different orbits and different satellite constellation. That all will be discussing in the global navigation satellite system. If you compare your GPS and other GLONASS or something, so GPS is the navigation global positioning system that is run and which is developed by United States of America. That is nothing but US people. American people have developed your GPS system. And now in the 4th unit we have to discuss about the GLONASS, Galileo, Compass and GNSS applications. These are the 4 topics that we have to cover in your 4th unit. So GLONASS is the global navigation satellite system which is run and developed by the Russia people. Okay, this Galileo is the global navigation system that is developed by the European country. And when it comes to the China country, the country China, that has been developed the global navigation system that is given as the name of Compass. This all I have clearly told and discussed in the 2nd class. Okay, so I'll share the link. Please go through with that to that class, so it will be very clear for you people. And the last topic that we are going to discuss in the unit 4 is your GNSS applications. Right, so let's just move on to the introduction part of your first other global navigation satellite systems. In that one, very first topic is your GLONASS. We'll move on to that one. So this is GLONASS. What actually GLONASS abbreviate? What is GLONASS? GLONASS is nothing but Global Navigation Satellite System. So this GLONASS is a space-based augmentation system. It is a space-based global navigation system that provides you reliable positioning, navigation as well as the timing services to the users on a continuous worldwide basis, freely available to all the users who are using this GPS or the navigation system. So what this GLONASS is also similar to that of your GPS. Okay, so GPS is also a space-based global navigation satellite system that also is providing the positioning, navigation as well as the timing services to all over the world freely to the users who are available for that. Okay, so here GLONASS is also doing the same thing. It is also a space-based navigation system which you will be providing its reliable positioning. You will be getting exact position, you can able to navigate, as well as you will be getting the timing services for the users on a continuous, means without any break, continuously all over the world. It will be providing you the all these 3 features: positioning, navigation as well as the timing services. So the GLONASS receivers compute their position in the GLONASS reference station using the satellite technology which is based upon the triangulation principles. So what is the basic principle of operation of your GPS? That is nothing but your triangulation. Yes, 3D triangulation we have done, and we have by that one only we are getting the exact location of the user. So all the navigation systems will be using the technology or the principle of operation of your triangulation. So similarly here also the GLONASS receiver will be computing their positions in the global navigation satellite reference stations, and by using the satellite technology which is completely based upon your triangulation principle. So this GLONASS was actually developed by the Russia people. So what actually the main agenda was to give the positioning of your the proper positioning, navigation as well as the timing. So the first it was first what we can say that statemented or first introduced in the year of 1976. Then in the year of 1982 it was first launched. Okay, so afterwards it has become completely functional to all the user in the year of 1995. So it's my request to all the students to please do note down the years what I'm saying, because I haven't written in this presentation. So it was first statemented, or the first stated, or like they have got an idea, like they have to start the navigation system like a GPS and all. So they have got in the year of 1976, whereas to the GPS, where that was developed by US people, that they have started in the 1974 or 73 itself. Okay, 2 years before the Russian people. So they have statemented in that time. So in Russia people, they have statemented, or the stated, or the initiated in the year of 1976, and the first launch was took place in the year of 1982. Then it was completely functional for the users or the normal people at the year of 1995. Then it was very quickly fully functional, and with all technologies and all, it was given like 2001 and 2000. They have started completely giving services to all the civilian as well as for the military people also. Okay, so this was about a small introduction of your GLONASS, right? So now just see what actually GLONASS consists of. Okay, what is the complete infrastructure of your GLONASS? As a GPS, it is also having the three what we can say three segments, like it is also having a space segment, ground segment, as well as the user segment. In that one also we have classified some different infrastructures that are consisting in your GLONASS, that we'll be seeing here. Though the GLONASS infrastructure consists of constellation of 24 satellites distributed over 3 orbital planes. Please go back to, I am repeating once again, please go back to the second class of my GNSS from the playlist. See there, compare GPS as well as the GLONASS. GPS is also having 24 satellites, but it is having 6 orbital planes. Okay, so what we have said, there will be 4 satellites that will be revolving every orbiter. But here when it comes to your GLONASS, here we will be having same the constellation of 24 satellites, but here they are divided into 3 orbital planes. Okay, now see the satellite control system. This is your what we can say space segment. All the 24 constellation, this is your space segment. When it comes to your ground segment, you are having the system control center, SSC, which is located near to Moscow. It is a place which is near to Moscow. Then you will be having 2 uplink stations. Okay, this all whatever I am saying here, this all comes under your ground-based augmentation, ground segments. Okay, so the system SSC, system control centers. Then you will be having 2 uplink stations, which what uplink stations will be doing, that will be giving the augmented signal or the improved signal to the user segment. Okay, to the space segment, and from the space segment to the user. Then you will be having a central clock situated in the Skalkovo, which is also near to the Moscow. Then you are having a network of 4 monitoring stations and the measuring stations. Okay, then you will be having 5 telemetry, tracking and the control stations. Means it will be tracking as well as the controlling. So there are 5 telemetry, tracking and control stations. You will be having 4 monitoring stations. You will be having 1 central clock which is situated near Moscow. You will be having 2 uplink stations for this one, and there will be 1 system control center, 1 system central control, which is located it is very difficult for me to pronounce this one. I'll just spell it out. Raskonzek means something is like that, so bear with me. So these are the things which are in your ground segment. When it comes to the space segment, obviously you know user segment, you know what are the users that are we are using, like marines are there, navigation, space, like roads, transportation, that are the users who are you'll be using this one. So that are the user segments. So GLONASS infrastructure is organized into 2 segments, actually here 3 segments: space segment, ground segment, to be completed by the user receivers, which is composes you the user segment. So so overall what you can say that we will be having 3 segments in your GLONASS, that are your space, ground and the user segment, right? I'll show you the figure. So just have a look on the architecture of your GLONASS. Similarly, like all other navigation systems, whatever you had, it is also similarly to that one. So this is your ground control segment or the ground segment of your GLONASS. This is your space segment, which is the constellation where you will be having 24 satellites in that particular constellation. But how many like orbits we will be using here? How many orbits? Here we are using only 3 orbital planes. So here we are having 3 orbital planes. in this. This is the space segment, ground segment, and this is the user segment, either for the navigation, either for the military, either for the marines, any traveling, anything that you will be using here, your GPS or the GLONASS. So these are the two satellites that were launched in the initially for getting all this what you will say information or the navigation information. So these are the existing systems. The star marks reds over here are showing that where you will be having the name, which is very difficult to pronounce. I have told this. So this is the place we will be having nearly to Moscow and all. So nearly all in the Russian country. Okay, so all these are in your Russian country, and in the future also they also wanted to have some stations. So these are the green marks where they are showing that they can keep the satellite segments, ground segments in that particular places. So this is your space segment, this is your ground segment, this is your user segment. Okay, so these space segment, the satellites will be gone. So these satellites will be giving the information to the user as well as the ground segment which is situated here. So in the ground segment, as we have said, there are different kinds different antennas we are having. Two uplink antennas we are having, one SSC we are having, control station, master station we are having. All that will be finding out the different kinds of errors, and they also augment the signal. Again they give back to the satellites which are present in the space on the constellation, and from that one you will be getting the information to the users without any error. The basic principle of working is similar, and the principle of operation is like your triangulation method. Principle of working and principle of operation, they are different. Principle of working is similar, that users, the satellites will be giving the information to the ground segment will be rectifying, mitigating the errors, then it will be given to the satellites back to the geostationary satellites that will be giving the information to the user segment. Principle of operation is your triangulation method. By using the triangulation method, we can find out exact the positioning, and we can also find the navigation also, and timing also, right? So these are the different, and this is the architecture of your GLONASS. So let's just see segments, the different segments that you are having in the global GLONASS space segment. Okay, the main function of the space segment are to transmit the radio navigation signals and to store the transmitted and the navigation message sent by the control segment. So whatever the information, what is the main agenda of your space segment? It has to be transmitting the radio navigation signals. Along with that one, it also store and retransmit the navigation message signal that are coming from your control segment, right? That is your from the ground segment. So the GLONASS space segment is consisting of 24 operational satellites which are distributed over 3 orbital planes, right? So this longitude of ascending node differs by 120 degrees from plane to plane. So difference between every plane will be of 120 degrees in longitude, and each plane comprises of 8 satellites, right? In 3 orbital planes we have divided. So in every orbital we will be having 8 satellites, right? 8 3 24, and they will be having 45 degrees of like a difference. They will be situated all the satellites will be situated in 45 degrees of inclination, or in the augment of your latitude. In terms of longitude, they will be differing, they will be having difference of 120 degrees of each plane, and 45 degrees difference will be there for the latitude. And for every orbit we will be having 8 satellites in every orbital plane. So the satellites operate in circular orbits at an altitude of 1900 kilometers with an inclination of 64.8 degrees, with each satellite completes the orbit in approximately 11 hours 15 minutes. Go back, compare this GLONASS with your GPS. What we have said, in the GPS it will be having like the satellite operates in the circular orbit, there also in GPS, but the altitude was there were 1200 kilometers, 12,000 kilometers, right? So there was inclination nearly up to 50 or 60, I don't remember that one, the inclination degree, and that satellite completes the orbit or the rotation around the earth in 12 hours. Remember, I hope you remember, 11 hours 59 minutes, right? So it was approximately 12 hours. So we required 12 hours to complete one GPS satellite to take a round of Earth. But here in GLONASS, what happens? The satellite operates in the circular orbits with an altitude of 1900 kilometers and having an inclination of 64.8 degrees, and each satellite of that particular orbit will be taking approximately 11 hours and 15 minutes to complete one rotation around the Earth. Okay, so whenever you study, you compare with the navigation systems that you are having for different countries, so that it will be very easy for you people to remember that one. Fine, I'll share the link along with this. Similarly, go back to that video, see that one, what were the constellation and how many orbital planes were there in your GPS, and what are the altitude, how many kilometers it was having, how much inclination it has, and what is the orbital time it has take to take one rotation around the Earth. Now comes to your next second segment, that is your GLONASS ground segment. Right, the ground segment, as we have already said, we are having a SLR station, right? Along with that one, you will be having a control segment. So this GLONASS ground segment, which is also referred as the control segment or the operational control segment, correct? So I have given here, so whatever the information that you are getting over here, see what is the space, and the main function of the space segment is to transmit the radio signals or the navigation signals which are stored and are given by your control segment. Control segment is nothing but, I have already told, it is the ground segment. So this ground segment is responsible for the proper operation of your GLONASS system. Means the complete navigation system is operated by using your ground segment. So it is responsible for all the proper operation of your GLONASS or the Global Navigation Satellite System. So it is consisting of a system control center, that is SSC. Then you will be having a network of 5 telemetry tracking centers, as I've already discussed this one, right? I'll show point wise. So how many telemetry tracking command centers you are having? That are your 5, right? Then how many clocks you are having over here? There is only one clock, and 2 uplink stations you are having here. These are the two uplink stations are there, but it is preferably, in case if it is one of the uplink station is not working, we can go for the 3rd uplink station also. So in kind of emergency, we can take 3 also. So 3 uplink stations, 2 satellite laser ranging stations. So this is called as SLR station, which is located in the Shelkova, which is near to the Moscow. So here we will be having 2 SLR stations, right? Very important, that is your satellite laser ranging station. I'll show you the figure of your SLR station also, and a network of 4 monitoring and measuring stations which are distributed over the territory of your Russian Federation, right? And 6 additional monitoring and measurement stations are to start operating in near future. These 6 stations that I have shown in the figure, like what are the upcoming stations that you will be having, right? So these are the upcoming stations, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2 and all there. So these are the upcoming stations which will be using in the future. So overall, what are the things that you will be having in your ground segment? That are your system control center 1, and you will be having 5 telemetry tracking centers TTNC, and you will be having 3 uplink stations or uploading stations, 2 satellite laser ranging stations SLRs, and a network of 4 monitoring and measuring stations which are distributed over the territory of the Russian Federation. Okay, the red stars which I have shown in the last one, and 6 additional will be there that will be used in the future. So this network is completed by other additional measurement stations on the territory of Russian Federation, and that is equipped with the laser ranging and other monitoring facilities. So what we can say that, but here the very important thing is that synchronization of all this process in the global navigation satellite system is very important. In case the you don't have very proper synchronization in terms of clock also, or in terms of receiving the signals or about your satellite health, then you won't be getting the proper information of your positioning as well as the navigation. So the synchronization of all the process in the GLONASS system is very important for its proper operationability or the operability. So the central synchronization is high pressure hydrogen atomic clock, which forms the GLONASS system timescale. So for that one, for having the proper synchronization, we are using a high precise hydrogen atomic clock, which will be used for getting the proper synchronization for the GLONASS. Fine. So this was about your ground segment of your GLONASS. So this is the figure of your satellite laser ranging station. Okay, SLR, satellite laser ranging station. So it is based on the ground only, but it will be taking the satellites will be taking the laser range stations, like where you will be getting the signal, from where you are getting, from which constellation, or from the which orbit, or from which satellite you are getting. That all information is given by your SLR station, which is at Moscow or nearer to the Moscow, which a place which is called as Shelkovo. Right, this is your SLR station. This is how it will be looking, right? So I have given a full theory of your user segment, so that you people can have notes also. So this GLONASS user segment will be using, or it will be consisting of the L band radio receiver processors and the antennas which receive this GLONASS navigation signals, determine the pseudo ranges and other observable values, and solve the navigation equation in order to obtain their coordinates and provide a very accurate time. So overall is that these user segments of the GLONASS that will be operating on your L band radio signals. Okay, so this will be taking the information from the antennas, and these signals will be determined by using the pseudo ranges and other like codes which are preferable. The pseudo codes are nothing but your C/A codes or the precision codes. That depends upon the application, like it is used for the military applications or the civilian applications. Depending upon that one, you will be selecting the pseudo ranges, and you will be solving the navigation equations whatever the required. Like we have seen different equations for different kinds of error. UE-RE equation is different, and for finding the atmospheric errors, that equations are different. So depending upon that particular problems or errors, the navigation equations will be used in order to obtain their coordinates, and also will be having they also will be providing a proper accurate time. So although the GLONASS constellation is nearing global coverage, so it is commercialization, it is commercialized, especially development of the user segment, that has been lacking comparable with compare with to the US GPS system. So if you compare this US GPS system and the Russian GLONASS system, so what this Russian GLONASS system is, it is mostly covering the global coverage for the for the commercial use, especially for the development of the users, because mainly it is concentrating on the user segments, like people can use very easily this navigation system, which is less lacking in your US GPS system, because US GPS system is mainly concentrating on your military purpose. But when it comes to the Russian GLONASS system, it is commercializing it very highly for the user segments, okay, the normal people. So to improve the situation, the Russia government has been actively promoting the GLONASS for the civilian use. As I have said, for the normal people, the government is planning to force all car manufacturers in Russia to make cars with a GLONASS, and they announced in the February 2011 that all the passengers cars, large transport vehicles and the vehicle transporting dangerous materials were required to use the GLONASS equipped navigators since July 2011. So what actually this Russian man thought that this GPS or the navigation system should mostly used for the user segments. So in the year of 2011 February, the government has forced all the car manufacturers to have the GLONASS in the vehicles, and it was implemented completely in the July 2011. So the main agenda of the Russian people was to have this navigation system to all the civil users, and mostly the passenger cars, like large transport vehicles, okay, goods and transport vehicles, either in the railways also, vehicle which are transporting dangerous materials were required to use the GLONASS equipped navigators, and that was done by July 2011, right? So beside that one, Russian efforts was also to improve the GLONASS accuracy, which are getting good results also, and several electronic companies have announced the launching of new receivers which will be supporting the GLONASS. Okay, this was all about your GLONASS and the architecture of the GLONASS, which has having 3 segments, the same as space, ground, as well as the user segment. In space segment, the space segment you will be having the 24 satellite constellation, right? Which will be running, which will be divided into 3 orbital planes. So 8 satellites will be there in every orbital plane. Then in the ground segments, we are having 5 categories around that one, right? So we will be having a system control center, we will be having 5 telemetry tracking command centers, you will be having 1 central clock, then upload stations you will be having, 2 satellite laser stations you are having, and 4 monitoring stations. I'll just I think have missed these satellite system control centers will be controlling all the information which is coming from the space segment. Whereas comes to the 5 telemetry tracking command centers, these are the system or the centers that are tracking like which satellites is moving from which plane or the which orbit, from which satellite you are getting the information. Complete tracking and command as well as a telemetry information is given or taken by using these 5 TTCs. Then you will be having a central clock, and this is because we have to get the proper synchronization. In GLONASS, synchronization is very important. Okay, then you will be having network of 4 monitoring and measuring stations where you will be getting the data. In case of any errors, that errors will be removed, that is given to the uploading stations or the uplink stations. These uplink stations will be giving the data to the geostationary satellites, and that geostationary satellites will be giving information to the user segment. So this is how the working of your ground station will be coming. So the overall we will be having 3 segments, and these 3 segments are the cycle that will how it will be rotating. So this was about your global navigation satellite system, the architecture of that one. I hope you are clear with this. So please do watch the videos. Go back to first video. Along with that one, complete all the 3 chapters nicely. Be thorough with that one, and in case of any doubts, please do let me know. Fine, I'll wind up the class here itself. Thank you.